or $500. Oh yeah. You can send it to $Louis Daylights with a Z. Oh. Well, hello there, my sensory deprived video consumers. My name is Louis Daylights, and this is Louis Daylights Photography. I don't want to make fun of other content creators who create videos making weird random sounds and get large sums of money sent to them through Cash App, because it's not weird. We're gonna try to keep on trucking like right through that. That's what we're gonna try to do. On today's show, we're going to revisit the Mamiya. I'm so used to saying Mamiya RB every time I say Mamiya, but this is the Mamiya C330. It's actually much less of a mouthful, but today's video will be about the Mamiya C330. I'm taking it out for a stroll because this was my second camera that I purchased after my Canon F1. I really fell in love with it because it was an affordable way to have a waist level viewfinder, be able to take pretty cool pictures and have a nice piece of machinery that was created for the casual photographer back in the 70s. I forgot when I was researching to get it which one it was going to be, but I ended up with the first initial series that came out, or I don't know if you want to call them a series, but it's the Professional, not the Professional F or anything that came out after that. So this one is from the 70s. It's got a 105mm lens. We'll take it outdoors with my family and we're going to take it to the lake and we're going to shoot some shots, shooting the Kodak Gold. We'll talk about my latest interactions and my getting reacquainted with the C330. So we'll discuss some issues that I came across with the C330 that I had not come across when I first got it, because it was brand new. I was excited. It was great, but it's been 5 months and now we'll get into that. So stay tuned. So I guess we'll start from the beginning. I've always been a camera collector, but I never really cared if the cameras worked or didn't work. I just like collecting vintage cameras, and all of a sudden I had tons and tons of cameras that I would purchase myself at tag sales, or I'd run into them somewhere and I'd purchase them, or even friends of mine would just give them to me. I have a box that my friend gave me just a few weeks ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my friend Angel, and I know he's my friend because he's just given me this. A box loaded with cameras.
And I haven't even been able to go through them because I have so many cameras.
Wow, what a braggadocious dude. He's got so many cameras. Who does he think he is?
I wanted cameras that worked, so I got really excited and I really decided to create this YouTube channel just to kind of document my journey in my falling in love again with film. I've been a little disenchanted with digital photography, and I think that the biggest wrong turn I made was that I took my passion for photography and I decided to monetize it when I was in my 20s. And it was great because it did lead to a new career and making it and making sure that I did well. And so long story short, a few years later now, I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of the business side of things. I'm sick of the way that the game has turned, the way that photographers are often disregarded.
I've got a video that's going to be so filled with hate and complaints that I'm going to wait.
Even though right now I'm probably coming off as a jerk. Anyways, I can't include that. That's not nice. I have to be a nice person. I got myself the Canon F1 and it was going to be my flagship camera for coming back to film. I was super excited. I bought the scanner. I bought even the thingy so that I can dust my negatives when I was scanning them. And it was fantastic. Like, this has been a great journey getting back into film. So after a successful career in digital photography, I've come back to film, and I just allowed myself to be vulnerable in getting reacquainted with film, falling in love with it like if it was the first time. I do not tout myself as an expert whatsoever. This is a journey that I'm on. This YouTube channel is as old as I've been doing film photography. So I'm about 11 episodes in, I think, with this one. I'm 5 months into film photography, so I went and bought myself the Mamiya C330. The Mamiya Mamiya C330 I fell in love with because I felt like it was a financially obtainable waist level viewfinder type camera that was going to make it exciting and fun to get reacquainted with film. And I did a bunch of research and I found that this would be the one that I was going to be shooting with. And so I got it. I shot a video where I went out with my friend Angelica. To a laundromat, and that footage was what it was. And that episode was actually, I think, the first episode of my YouTube channel, and I had a great time with it. I was doing the best that I could using my light meter. I went for it, man. I was shooting digitals with Angelica that day, and I took out the C330 for a ride, and it was cool. I started doing more research and I fell in love with the Mamiya RB67. Basically, the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD was so much fun to shoot that I just went nuts and I just carried it everywhere, started shooting everything. And then I put this C330 kind of on the back burner and I felt really bad. And so after about 10 episodes of shooting with everything except the C330, I decided that I'd take it with us this last weekend to go with my family on a road trip. And basically, we have a lot of trails and state parks and beautiful natural settings. So I went with my wife and my kids. We jumped in the Jeep, we dropped the top, and we just went out. So we're on a cool trail that I found in Brimfield. Basically, is a long road. You saw the video leading up to here. And there's this beautiful opening here where there's a lake on both sides. I think for a photo, this will be much nicer on this side. I've got it set up at 250 for the aperture. And then the f-stop's at 11 and it's set at 200 ISO. So anyways, I'm going to take a photo of that. Show them, Kami, what it looks like. There you go. Look how nice that is. All right, now we're going to focus. We're good to go, I think.
of mommy and bebe. Hi, papash. Say cheese.
There's a sparkle in your eyes. I feel the warmth of your skin. Just the touch of your hand makes me tremble within. Love the smell of your hair.
I ran into some issues with the C330. And anyways, before I show you what happened with the camera and the shots that I took, I'll talk a little bit about some of the pros and cons and some of the things that have been affecting my getting reacquainted with the C330. When I first got the C330, I was super excited about it because I didn't have any experience with medium format photography, and the C330 was going to be my introduction to that. And I had heard that if you were going to get into medium format, that this was the camera to do it with because it was a nice entry point. It is a waist level viewfinder. I went and grabbed this. It's a 105mm lens, which is equivalent, I heard, to like a 55. In any case, the problems that I was having with it, the focus throw on this thing is mad short. So basically, if you're having difficulties with eyesight, or you wear glasses, or you just are moving around and you're not using a tripod, it can be really difficult to pull focus on this thing and get a nice, comfortable focus where you know that you've got it, right? If you're not using a tripod. And so I was photographing my toddler, which those are all terrible combinations, right? You don't want to photograph a toddler who can sit still and then have a super throw focus that's very short, and then at the same time be handheld, right? In a hotel bathroom. So it was tough. And I'm just going to throw it out there. You know, you're going to see the photos and they're not going to be fantastic, but it's part of the experience. So you're going to learn from this. So number one lesson is have a tripod. Number two, don't shoot with a toddler, because you're not going to get a toddler to sit still. Now, maybe it's just my toddler. So sorry, I'm not trying to throw shade at your toddler if your toddler is well behaved and he sits still. My toddler's not, you know, necessarily poorly behaved. He just got a lot of energy and he's not sitting still, and it's tough to get him. But in any case, those are lessons you need to learn, right? Don't be a child photographer with a C330 that's got a short throw on its focus and not use a tripod, right? Because that's a terrible combination. It's the perfect storm for blurry photos. The dual lens system is a bit confusing, especially my mother-in-law was on this trip, and I don't want to throw shade at anybody's mother-in-law, including my own, because I do want her as a subscriber, and she told me that if I had 110 subscribers that she would subscribe, and I'm at like 105, I believe. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing to my channel. But the confusion is basically, I'm going to try to zoom in after, but basically the confusion is that there's an area here that's marked. It's got a little red marking where it allows you to shift your f-stop and your settings, right? But then there's this little metal part that it's a part of the mechanism that has to do with the timer when you're gonna take a photo from not being behind the camera and you're not gonna be the one pulling the shutter. It's got a cool timer on there that just kind of like slowly ticks. That's part of the mechanism there. But while I was shooting out there with my kid in front of the hotel, I was trying to set my app thinking that this was the marker, right, to show me where was, instead of using the red marking that's on the actual lens. And that threw me off because I had it at 8 and I thought I had it at 60 because I was using this silly mechanism as the line that I thought was the marker for it. And I knew that because I'd shot already 2 times, 3 times with this camera, but for whatever reason I was distracted with my toddler. I didn't want him running into the street. Again, he's a well-behaved toddler. He doesn't have any issues. He just, you know, he's rambunctious, and I just didn't want him running into the street. So I was like minding him, and then my mother-in-law was telling me, oh, you should take the photo this way or do it that way, and God bless her soul. We love our in-laws. Aren't they fantastic, guys? Put in the comments below how much you love your in-laws. This is going to be the least amount of comments I ever have. Just kidding. You guys probably all love your in-laws and I'm just being weird. Like, that intro that I did for this video. In any case, that was an issue. And then something else that I noticed, like there's this top lens that doesn't have anything to do with the way that you set up your ISO in any way, and it spins and it's got the numbers on there like it's doing stuff, and I'm sure it has a significance, but I can't figure it out. I was looking at different contents and I don't see it doing anything when I'm setting up the shot, so that's confusing. And then there's this other area here, and I'm like filling this thing up with cons, and I apologize because it's not my intention. I really love this camera. So if you look closely at this area, it's the lock and unlock for when you're removing the lenses, and basically what that does is that when you have it in lock, it allows you to remove the lens without exposing the film. So that's important, right? But then it's got these other little tiny, you need like fingernails. If you see if you pull in tight, you can see that it's moving. It's got these numbers on there, and they look like numbers, right? The denominations, they look like they are denominations. In any case, it's got these numbers there, and I don't know what the heck they're for. I don't think they have anything to do with the settings that are on the lens. Other than that, so the whole 5x5 or 6x6, oh my god, I said 5x5. Somebody already yelled at me for that in another video. Listen, we're not printing these. They don't come out in a 5x5. The medium format, it's a square. So whether it's 6x6 or 5x5, like what's the difference?
Nobody's printing anything. It's not like on Photoshop where you click on print size and it's gonna like print you a print the actual size of the resolution. Relax.
Anyways, I can't include that. That's not nice. I have to be a nice person. The whole 6x6 it just reminds me of like 2009 Instagram. And then if you're shooting with my least favorite film, the Fujifilm Pro 400H on 6x6, it's literally like 2009 Instagram, right? Am I right? No? Okay. And then another thing, I like the glass. I wouldn't say that it's as amazing as the glass that comes in the Mamiya RB67 Pro SD, which is made by Seiko. I discovered recently. I was so like, what? But yeah, so I feel like the glass on that camera is really nice, and I'd really like to explore getting other lenses for the Mamiya RB67. I'm not so interested in like investing in more lenses for this camera, because at the end of the day, 6x6, it's not giving you a lot of room for you know what, never mind, because the C330 comes with so many features and so many aftermarket lenses and gear that when they released this, it was such a big deal that there's so many different lenses you can get. And I've seen the photography that other people who have the C330 have shot, and it's brilliant. It's beautiful stuff. And so that was what really encouraged me. In fact, that's not a con anymore. That's a pro. I would say that the lens on this camera is really a pro, although I wouldn't necessarily say I've done as magnificently a job as those online that I've seen shooting with the C330. I've seen some really beautiful portraits and some great stuff with nature.
Watch me, just follow every move. Touch me, let me know you want it too. Don't let what you need